Jussie Smollett, the actor and star of the show Empire, as well as being a multi-talented artist and musician, was involved in a brutal attack in Chicago for being a black gay man in America. And it's unfortunate, disheartening, sad, and Joy and I often talk about things on our platform as the progress that we still have to make as a society and a country, not when it comes to just race relations, but also people's sexual and gender identity within the country. Is there is still so much hate and so much intolerance when it comes to our brothers and sisters who do not identify the same way with a heterosexual norm. And that is, again, incredibly disheartening and sad. And it's also a painful reminder for a lot of people, is being a celebrity or being famous does not make you exempt from hate in the world. And this was, there's times for people who don't work in the industry. I see it all the time on Twitter, on headlines, especially like around LeBron James. You make millions of dollars. You guys are multi-millionaires. You're above all of this hate, and you can't compare yourself to every other individual. And this just goes to show you is that Jussie Smollett is a very successful, well-known individual, but was attacked because he was a black gay male. And I just wanted to come in here and make a statement in solidarity and support with not only Jussie, but to everyone else who is continuing to fight this battle and trying to move beyond the oppressive nature of the rhetoric that has filled our society, unfortunately. But I also want to bring about a concern of mine that I have seen trending in the last year or so when news of like this comes up, which is so unfortunate and sad, is everyone is so quick to run to Twitter or their social media platforms and judge and tell everyone how they need to protest or how they need to support and how they need to be in solidarity with these individuals. And before we are quick to rush and judge others for how they stand in support and how they show their solidarity and how they protest, we should be conscious of our words and actions, saying you must do this. You need to protest this way. I don't know if I've said it here on the show, but I'm not a protester in the streets. That's not who I am. With the marches that are happening, I'm in full support. I stand with all those who go out and march and let their voice be heard, because that matters, and it creates attention and it creates a conversation. I'm not one of those people. I don't look down upon anyone who shares my standpoint or someone who is in the streets protesting. But because I'm not in the streets protesting, holding a sign, marching and yelling, does not mean that I'm not advocating and protesting in a different way. But because someone's protest and advocacy does not look like the way your protest and advocacy looks like, does not mean that they are not in support of the same cause and the same fight you are fighting. And it's important in this time of extreme polarization and the ability to just say and do whatever you want, regardless of any clout or merit you may have, is for those who are fighting the good fight. I stand with you in fighting the good fight. But as you fight the good fight, let's make sure we don't judge others who aren't fighting the exact way you fight. Because there isn't one way to protest. There isn't one way to educate, and there isn't one way to advocate. So I will stand here in solidarity with Jussie Smollett and not run from the fact that he was attacked because he was black and because he was gay. And if you do not believe that, you are woefully mistaken and should educate yourself on some topics that are going on in the country, especially the homosexual view within the black community. Because it's real, it's dangerous, and people are losing their lives because of it. Fortunately, Jussie is still here to talk about his experience, but we can't run from the fact that those were the two reasons why he was attacked. And we need to continue to have conversations about those topics, specifically within the Black community. But again, because I didn't make a video and put out that exact day, showing my solidarity and support does not mean that I'm not fighting the same battle and having different conversations with people. Because as a Black man who has a lot of conversations offline from this show, is when I read those comments and headlines and look at other people, I then get educated on some things that I may not have been aware of. And then I can take that information and move it into my private life and be able to influence thoughts and ideas that are not online. And we have a misconception that action is only done online. We don't live online, everybody.
Or in the streets.
Or in the streets. That's not how all action is done. Yeah.
It's often done behind closed doors.
Most times it is.
Like real change.
But we use our Twitter flag or our Instagram flag or our followers as our easy way to do it. And sometimes...
And that's valid too.
It is valid, but sometimes I also think it's a cop-out. If I'm being fully transparent here, is, because I can go on social media and say this, I can show the world that I'm in support.
And not give a second thought.
But if all you did is post a video and you went on about your day and you never had a conversation, you never influenced other people around you, what benefit have you really given to the cause? So I want to say all this to remind us all is everyone walks through these streets differently. Everyone's path in their life is differently. The way that we behave and we think and we process information is different. And because you don't run to the internet and post a 60-second video or tweet 140 characters or put a thread together does not make you any more or less involved in the cause and fight towards justice. Everyone's path is different. Shaun King is a perfect example of someone who is just different. Shaun King is on the ground, constantly putting his life, his family at danger, and there's not many people who are like him. He's relentless in his pursuit of social justice. But there are people who donate, and I'm on the email list, constantly sends out emails explaining what his next action plans are and asking to donate. I know there are thousands of people who are donating their money and their time to his cause to make it happen, and no one will ever know who they are. That does not mean they are not as committed to Shaun King's cause as Shaun King is. People move around their advocacy different, and that is okay. If you remain silent and not active at all, I agree, there's a problem there. But we cannot say because you are not socially vocal means you're not making any changes. Right. So Jesse, I stand with you, my brother, to all of our Black kings and queens, to all of our gay and lesbian king and queens. I stand with you in your fight for equality. And if you hold on to these views that are not as welcoming to people who don't believe, look, live, or have sex like you, I urge you to go within and ask yourself, why do you hold those feelings? And if you want to talk to somebody about that, I'm more than happy to do so, but I don't engage in dialogue and debates online because it's useless. Because all we're doing is hiding behind a screen and words, and that doesn't accomplish much. I'm not saying it can't make waves, but as far as changing something, that's not really doing it all. But if you want to come sit and talk face to face and have a conversation, I would absolutely love to do it. Just like Ashton Kutcher tweeted out his phone number and said he misses having authentic connections with people. Because that's where we're at in a society, is we've hidden ourselves behind keyboards and screens and phones and expect to have all this knowledge, but when it comes time to sit with someone face to face and really engage in a conversation, we have no clue how to do it. So I'm more than happy to engage with people face to face, flesh to flesh, hand to hand, brother to brother, sister to sister, brother to sister, and make some things happen.